till the count of 5.
What's going on, guys? Justin here, back with another episode of the podcast, Till the Count of 5. My co-host is always to my left.
What's up, bitches? We're back. Jason. What's up? So, no guest this week. We thought we were having some. We had communication problems.
A communication breakdown of sorts.
Kinda. It'll be alright, though. We're getting them on the podcast really soon. And that'll be fun.
My mouth is healed now, so I'll actually be talking this fucking episode, unlike the previous one where I was just kind of silent and kind of out of it, honestly.
Yeah. And it got worse. In all honesty, like at first you were pretty good.
No, it got worse. I was like,
it got worse
man,
as you're going.
My
And
mouth hurts so much.
By the time you were leaving, like I felt terrible. I'm like, damn, I wish he'd have just like told me because I felt like shit.
Like I said, I didn't know at the time. Like when I went to the dentist, I was like, I'm pretty sure it's my wisdom tooth, but more than likely they'll just X-ray it and I'll
schedule it.
Yeah, I'll come back.
Yeah.
But then I got there and they're like, so what's bothering you? I was like, I'm pretty sure it's my wisdom tooth. And they're like, well, that's fine. We'll just take the bitch out. And they did that, and then I couldn't eat food for a week.
I fucking love Robbie Cassidy. We're going to get to the subject we're laughing about right now a little later in the show.
Stay tuned.
Listen, if you want to know before we get to that point in the show, because the poll's going to be on for 24 hours, so on the chance that Justin gets this loaded up before the 24 hours is up, which is hit or miss, maybe.
It'll either go up tonight or tomorrow. It may go up tonight, honestly.
Whatever.
I don't know.
If it's up within the 24-hour limit that we have a poll running, I am running. Have you ever ran a poll on Twitter before?
Maybe once.
Okay, for our purposes and the podcast purposes, we are running our first podcast Twitter poll. And if you listen to this for Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, go to our Twitter account, Till the Count of 5 podcast. That's pretty simple. Just Till the Count of 5, and go vote in our poll, which we'll tell you about later, because it became a debate at my house.
Right now, there's 7 votes.
Do any say no?
57% is yes, 29% is no, 14% is don't watch any, liar.
Somebody's a fucking liar.
I bet that one was Robbie.
No, I feel like Robbie said yes.
I don't know, just the way he replied to it, I feel like
He might not have that bastard.
Could possibly.
Robbie's a damn liar, man. Anyway, so last show we had the Jones Boys on, which was fun as hell. As a reminder, before we talk about the show, the big show that they were on here to talk about, we're on YouTube now. Obviously, if you're listening to us, you're hearing it on YouTube anyway. I'm actually gonna cancel Podbean tomorrow night when I know I have money in the bank, just in case they charge me something. I don't think they will, but just on the off chance they do.
I don't think they can charge you anything for canceling.
Well, I didn't know if it, like, I don't know if I pay a month ahead, so I didn't know if it would, like, half charge me.
Oh, yeah, okay,
I
know what you're saying.
So I'll be canceling the Podbean thing. And that comes off of a guy actually giving us one of our first comments on just the podcast in general, so I kind of feel a little bad, but facts are facts. We're jumping off the Podbean app for now and going to YouTube, and who knows, maybe eventually like we could do like iTunes or something.
Yeah.
But for now, YouTube only. Plus, I mean, everybody's got YouTube. So, like, my daughter's sitting over there watching YouTube right now as we're talking. So,
I mean, and it's free.
And it's free.
Big thing. It's free.
Plus, we can add little pictures and all that shit, which is fun. So, March the 11th show. We got to plug it real quick. Not going to spend a lot of time on it because last week was on it. But, do have to stress the importance of that show as it's a fundraiser for Coach Chris Sturgill at Sullivan South High School, who has been diagnosed with cancer. And basically medical bills are piling up, and he's out of like sick days to be able to use.
Yep.
So, everything they raise there, concessions and everything, which usually that doesn't happen, is going to go to him. And also, our guest from last week, the Jones Boys, and new Southeastern Heavyweight Champion, and one of our personal favorites, Chase Owens. They each have their own shirts they're selling for the show specifically. They're $20 a piece, and half the money goes to the coach. The other half just covers the shirts. They're not making any money off of it, but they do need the money before they can order all the shirts. That way, they don't get screwed on some of them.
Yeah.
Which is understandable. But I know Chase, and I'm going to assume the Jones boys as well, they have to have the money by this Friday because the show's the next weekend. So by this Friday, if you want a Jones boys custom shirt for this event, or if you want a Chase Owens shirt for this event, you got to get a hold of them on Facebook. Is the easiest way to get a hold of both of them, really. Other than that, the March 11th show, not your normal benefit show. It's a little
bit
stacked.
different.
It's a little stacked. One, it's gonna be a huge turnout. I know that already. They're trying to get 1,000 people in there. We're on record as stating there would. I think they'll easily have 1,000 people. But other than that, we do know some more matches now. Mainly because I saw a flyer yesterday in
cool.
town, so that's how I knew more matches than we already did. And like I said, this is what makes this card different than most benefit shows. No offense to most benefit shows, but you don't have the A+ players necessarily.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. The guys still put on a hell of a show, and that's not just like Smoky Mountain. That's pretty much a given anyway.
Yeah.
Because those guys are working for free at these shows. So
that's the thing. Like you don't expect to have like the bigger names in your company or being able to have any kind of big names because you're not paying those guys that
right. Well, most benefit shows is a good chance for like young guys
to show off some of their talent.
Yeah, and it helps them get out there. But in this case, we got some of both. Two young tag teams we talked about who were in the Model City Tag Team Tournament.
Yep.
Los Chicanos, the Castro brothers, and they're going to take on a team who we're pretty high on. They've grown on us, despite the Power Ranger look. The Cross brothers. Both teams trained at the School of Morton. Both young teams, and they'll put on a good show. Both of those teams are going to be really good.
And they're getting better every time we see them, I feel like.
Oh, yeah. No, I agree 100%. Besides that, now here's where it gets crazy, guys. Like, usually if you're talking about a benefit show, any of these would be like the one big match on it, and you'd have a bunch of other matches. I do know there's a 6-man tag, but it didn't have who was listed in it. But also on this card, you're going to have Chris Richards defending his newly won NWA Smoky Mountain TV title versus Axton Ray, former champion, getting his return match. He's also still the AML
Is it the Prestige champion?
Prestige champion. I saw that yesterday.
Yeah.
He's looking pretty spiffy with that. Everybody's giving him a hard time about it.
Yeah.
But Axton Ray, awesome talent. Chris Richards is kind of like a legend for Kingsport, really. I mean, he's been doing it for like 15 years now.
Yeah.
So that match, that's going to be great. Then you throw in these 3 matches on top of those. Toby Farley is going to take on Jordan Cage.
That'd be a good match.
Man, those are 2 of the best guys in Smoky Mountain. And that's a rivalry that'll probably never end, too. Considering, Toby broke Dylan's leg and all that good stuff. But also, like we said, Chase Owens, the new Southeastern Heavyweight Champion.
Already defending his belt.
Already defending the belt against, man, maybe one of the biggest challenges you could try and take on.
Is that a pun?
Yeah, kind of. I'm not saying anything's a pun when it comes to him. Jeez, it's a big ass pun.
Podcast veteran at this point.
Yeah, veteran.
Travis Lee.
We gotta have them on again. Soon.
Yeah, we do.
I missed the Trav. Big Travis, the giant Travis Lee, is gonna take on Chase Owens for the Southeastern Heavyweight Championship. Damn, we went from having a 2,000-day reign almost with Jason to we might not make it a month with Chase. I love you, man, but whew, damn, pick your opponents. Then the main event for the show, and it couldn't happen any other way. You have to be in the main event.
Yeah.
We have the Elizabethan, the Johnny Manziel-esque. By the way, I noticed after we dropped the Johnny Manziel thing, talking about him, Then they tweeted the Johnny Manziel doing the money sign. I feel like maybe
we're innovators.
we may be innovators. Maybe there's some people listening, but may not be fan favorites. But we're fans. The Savages, formerly Air America, the Savages will be in the main event. Elizabethton's own the Savages, taking on our guest from last week, Sullivan South's own, the Jones Boys. That place is gonna go crazy for that match. But March the 11th, that's the big show. Make sure everybody's there. Hey, if by some chance this weekend you got some time and you want to drive into the middle of nowhere, no offense, and I hope you do. They do have a show in Sneedville. I'm just not driving to Sneedville.
Yeah, that's way.
That's a little far.
That's way
for
out
me.
of the way.
No, if you live close, you have no excuse. Go watch the show. It'll be a good show. And actually, the main event for that one has our guest from last week, I think.
Really?
The Jones Boys are going to take on the Heat Seekers for the NWA United States Tag Team Champions.
Okay.
Yeah. So maybe our buddies will have titles.
That'd be nice.
That would be cool. Other than that, that's kind of the local stuff. Obviously, did we get the big announcements happened though, hasn't it?
It's happened. We haven't talked about it on here.
Yeah, we haven't talked about it on here. I may have known.
Yeah, we
by saying that, I knew.
We both knew.
The big announcement is for Collision Course. The main event that night will be, and if you've not seen this, this is one of the coolest ass posters like they've ever done.
I think it looks.
It's like a movie poster
sweet.
looking.
Did Trotter do it?
I do believe Trotter did
Yeah.
it. Will Trotter's damn amazing. When it comes to all that stuff. We're going to have former NWA World Heavyweight Champion, current on-again, off-again Ring of Honor member,
Yep.
Godzilla, Jax Dane, will be making his return to NWA Smoky Mountain. And holy shit. Godzilla is going to take on the Silverback. Ryback will be in the house in Kingsport, Tennessee in May. Tickets are on sale now for VIPs.
Yeah.
So if you're not in the VIP group, you need to go try and find out how you can get in the VIP group, because if you're not in there, you're nobody.
Maybe talk to us.
Or Tony. Send Tony a message. Main event set for Collision Course, which is one of the biggest events of the year. Ryback versus Jax Dane.
Well, we got these next couple months are going to be fun.
These next couple months are going to be damn awesome. The March the 11th show, obviously, and then the April show is the Smoky Mountain Cup. Smoky Mountain Cup's going to be loaded. Facade's been announced now, too, which we knew. There's some really big names. It's going to be a fun event. Hopefully our boy Xander may be coming down to watch the Smoky Mountain Cup.
Yep.
Other than that, the April 29th show at Vance Middle School kind of got a little more interesting, huh?
A bit.
We'll leave them to last. Obviously, on that show, April 29th, Pro Wrestling South is putting on a huge show.
And I swear to God, it just keeps getting bigger.
I know, man. Quit adding stuff. Rachel Ellering, Paul Ellering's daughter, will be in action that night.
Yeah.
Andrew Everett will be in action that night.
Yep.
And that match is going to be awesome. Andrew Everett is going to be in a 4-way match.
Okay.
With the anti-hero Lenny Stratton.
Okay.
The underestimated, overlooked Michael Starr.
Yeah.
And Chucky T.
Okay.
4-way match that night. Also, Tommy Rich, former NWA World Heavyweight Champion, will make an appearance.
Yep.
Former TNA Superstar Crimson will be there.
Yep.
Current TNA Superstar Crazy Steve will be there.
Who are they all competing, or are they?
They are all wrestling. Tommy Rich is the only one I think is just making an appearance.
Okay.
Everyone else is competing, as far as I know.
Okay. Well, is Marty?
I think Marty is too.
Okay.
Former Intercontinental Champion, former one half of the Rockers.
Yep.
With Shawn Michaels. Marty Jannetty will be there. And is that everybody before I get to them?
I think before the
Yeah.
obviously the big one. Big ones.
Yeah, I think it's that. So I guess we'll say Now we can say former TNA superstars, Matt and Jeff Hardy, Broken Matt and Brother Nero, formerly of TNA, will be there that night in the main event, tag teaming. Don't know who they're facing yet, but damn. I guess that leads us into the topic of topics right now. The state of TNA.
Yeah.
You want to say anything here?
Okay. For starters, TNA's not like, man. I swear to God, anytime someone like leaves TNA,
They're dead. It's
yeah,
fine.
like, TNA's dead.
closed.
TNA's fucked. Like, well, that's not the case. But I actually saw a pretty interesting, just little paragraph earlier. I read it off to Pablo, and it was like Impact Wrestling, and it was like in the last 5 years have lost. And it was like AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Bobby Roode, Eric Young, the Hardys, and Drew Galloway.
Drew Galloway now
Yeah.
has gone too.
Which is nuts. Like, if you think about that,
Aries.
yeah, that's devastating. But TNA's fine at the end of the day. This is like the stuff is in our wrestling group today about Global Force and Jeff Jarrett kind of maybe doing. The tweet didn't really give anything away, but you got to think if he's still trying to do the Global Force thing occasionally, then he has access to some of those guys that he worked with.
Okay.
Which opens up the possibility of what TNA can do now.
Right.
That's the big thing.
Well, it goes back to this. You get a start at the top with Dixie Carter and that all being on, and Anthem is now the owners, and they have brought back in kind of the old regime, in that we have Jeff Jarrett's back now. Dutch Mantell is back now.
Pretty much the old creative team is back, isn't it?
Scott D'Amore, that was with Team Canada, is back. And then Kevin Sullivan, who is not the Kevin Sullivan that everybody thought it was.
Yeah, it's a different
Kevin different Kevin Sullivan that was with TNA before. They are now back in charge again. And if you go back to TNA's heyday, Jarrett and them were the ones in charge for the most part. My thing with that is, with the whole new regime taking over, and obviously they're going to go in a different direction, there was bound to be some people leave. A lot of the thing with the Hardys, because the Hardys are the big topic. Like, look, I love Drew Galloway. I actually think Drew Galloway will be a bigger star in WWE. I think it helped him leaving.
Yeah.
And he killed it on Independence, and he was great in TNA. And I think if he hadn't had the issues like we said earlier with his wife at the time and all that stuff to have in WWE, I think he would have been a star for WWE. But with Drew Galloway, I think it's going to be fine. I don't think that's a huge hole to fill. I mean, nothing against Drew Galloway. I love Drew Galloway. I think he'd be fucking phenomenal in WWE. I really do.
Which more than likely, you got to think that's probably where he's going to go.
I mean, I would think that's the bigger payday.
Yeah.
I mean, and if they're willing to take you back, especially right now, because it's kind of different than before. Before, WWE didn't want to touch you if you'd been in one of these other groups. But now, where things have changed, like, it helps you. Like Cody Rhodes. He's a bigger star now than he was ever when he was with WWE.
Completely.
So it was huge for him.
And really, more than likely, probably might go back one day.
Eventually, I think he will.
I mean, it seems like it always comes full circle.
In all honesty, eventually I think he'll be back. But with the Hardys, there's different factors with this. And we've talked about this on there. I hated the broken Matt Hardy gimmick. When it first started, I fucking hated it.
It was weird.
I thought it was the stupidest thing I'd ever seen.
Yeah.
And there's still people that feel that way. There's people that hate it. Like I've saw people fussing already about it. My thing about it is I love the Hardys. I do kind of wish they'd stayed in TNA because I thought they were going to have more freedoms with TNA than they will if they're going back to WWE, which is what everybody assumes is happening.
Yeah. It's like a massive plot
twist. It's just waiting to
like
happen.
New Japan or some crazy shit.
No,
that wouldn't happen.
I don't know that can work.
No, it wouldn't.
But I mean, I think part of it was because if you see it, like it had more to do with how it was handled than anything.
Yeah.
Like, they had originally kind of agreed to a contract, but they just wanted a couple things in the fine print changed, where basically they wanted creative control like they've been doing and had with the old regime, where they could kind of do what they wanted. And it had been working. I mean, in all honesty,
I mean,
even if you hated it and you were thinking this was stupid, you watched it.
and the thing about it is, you talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, it got out there. Everybody talked about the final deletion and all that stuff.
I mean, they
even if you
kinda-
hated it, it was out there.
They kept shooting for the moon, and it kept fucking working. Obviously, eventually, that's not going to work.
Right.
And
Matt Hardy reinvented himself, like, maybe better than anybody ever has.
yeah, and I think, with the new regime in there, they realized that that's not always going to work. And so they, maybe they just wanted a little bit of control.
I think a lot of what it is the Hardys, for the entity they are right now, was for the here and now.
Yeah.
But with the whole new regime taking over, it's not necessarily about the here and now. It's about the future going
Exactly.
forward. And no offense to the Hardys, because I love the Hardys. And I think if they go back to WWE, it's going to be fucking huge. They're not exactly spring chickens.
Yeah.
They're not exactly like... They've done better lately as far as not getting injured and stuff. But, I mean, let's face it, Jeff's screwed himself up how many times? Matt, too, really.
I mean,
They've had a lot of injuries.
One of the last times that we saw Matt,
He looked bad.
yeah, and
Now, he looks better now.
he's doing a ton better now. But then, man, he wasn't doing anything but clotheslines.
No, he did.
mean,
and that's
that-
I love the whole seeing
Yeah,
him and stuff.
that's no exaggeration. He was clotheslining people. That was it.
But my thing with that is, I think while it is disappointing because it's kind of like, damn, TNA's losing something huge. Because and in all honesty, I'll say this: I think the Hardys may have saved TNA
I think so.
for about the last year.
And there will be people that will deny that till the end of time. But that's fine. That's
I mean,
TNA wouldn't have gone under, obviously, but TNA wouldn't have been back up to where they are without the Hardys. No way.
without the Hardys being able to put TNA kind of back out there where people were talking about it,
Because think about it.
TNA doesn't sign Moose.
No.
And I do like what Moose tweeted out today.
Yeah, he said TNA's going to
He
be
said,
fine.
look, the Hardys and Drew Galloway were great. It does suck losing them, but TNA's still going to be A-okay. TNA's still going to... Because that's the thing. Like, the Hardys were kind of the name everybody talked about from TNA. But if you look at it over the past year and a half, it's actually gotten tremendously better as far as especially in-ring stuff. Like, Bobby Lashley had a great year and a half here lately.
Yep.
Eddie Edwards, same deal. Moose, who I love. I really like Moose a lot.
I mean, I guess the first time I saw him was the Global Force show, I guess.
Yeah, you hadn't seen him, and I
Yeah.
told you, I was like, this guy Moose is going to be awesome. And he walked out, and you're like, well, maybe. And then he does some stuff, and it's like, that dude's a freak athlete.
He's the real deal.
Eli Drake, another guy who can talk really well. Like, TNA is going to be okay. It's just everybody's got to look. I understand, like, if you look straight at it right now, it sucks. They lost Drew Galloway, and they lost the Hardys. And yes, they're the tag team champions and the grand champion or whatever right now.
That's one thing about it, though, and we've never really talked about that. We've talked about this off the podcast and stuff, but man, people in wrestling have such short attention spans. I mean, not just wrestling, obviously, just in general. But
That's just kind of today's day and age.
like people will complain and talk about TNA or be like really freaking out right now, but a month from now, it'll be fine. And no one, just because this is happening right this instant, that's the only
and it
reason.
goes back to, and I know we use this a lot on here, like we'll reference but when Robbie and Tony had their last podcast, it's kind of, they were talking kind of along the same deal, and I'm not going to say I'm not guilty of it sometimes either. Nobody wants to wait for that big payoff.
Yeah.
Like, everybody wants it for here and now, and that's not necessarily a wrestling issue. That's a society issue now. And this goes back to, like, what we'll talk about our poll questions about, and it's kind of what I said. Everything is sitting in our hand, readily available for us to see at any second right now.
Yeah.
Like, on my phone, we're walking around, like, when I was little, like, when computers were first getting big, like, computers were a big deal. Now, basically, everybody that you walk past every day, just about, has a mini computer in their pocket. And you can access anything you want. And so what that does is it makes everybody doesn't want to wait. Everybody wants it here now. You can't get it fast enough. Like, you want to know what's going to happen before it happens. And everybody's going to have to chill out with the TNA stuff.
Yeah, man.
Let them see what's going to happen. Be patient. Like, look, guys, when TNA first started, nobody took them legitimate anyway, till they saw AJ Styles, Petey Williams, Christopher Daniels.
Yep.
You know, that whole group, back when they first started at the Asylum in Nashville, when they had, you know, Raven and Jarrett and Ken Shamrock.
Yep.
You know, nobody thought they were going to take this seriously. Well, then, you look then, and now we're at, 15 years, something like that. I don't know.
Maybe. Well,
I mean, it's been a while. At least 10. I know it's at least been 10.
Yeah.
But it hurts losing the Hardys in the present. Future-wise, we'll wait and see. I don't think it will kill them. I don't think it's not doomed TNA. I think Jarrett is doing a lot of good things. They've signed the contract thing with Noah, which helps. They've also, you know, the Global Force thing, like Justin mentioned, here's the biggest thing with the Global Force thing. And I know, cue the puns and jokes right now, because Global Force was built up to be something huge. Kind of wasn't, but it kind of may work out in the end to serve this purpose now.
Yeah.
In that he had so many contacts. Like when we went to the Global Force show at the Smoky Stadium in Sevierville, we got this program. And I actually still have this program somewhere, and it's autographed by all the guys that we saw that night or whatever.
But it's a whole roster.
But it shows everybody that was contracted with Global Force to appear on any of their shows.
Yep.
Well, guys, let me tell you, the list of wrestlers in that thing, and some of those guys, you're right, he's not going to have ever. But let me just tell you, some of the guys he had in that thing, Nakamura was in there.
Yep.
Okada's in there.
Yep.
So now you're talking about the Japanese guys. The guys we saw that night, I mean, some of them are in WWE now. Gallows and Anderson, the current Raw Tag Team Champions.
Yep.
We met them that night. Chase Owens is in there. Jason Kincaid's in there. Congo Kong, Moose.
Juice and Liger's in there.
I mean, there's a lot of guys in there who are making big names for themselves right now.
Chris Masters was in there.
Yeah. Who else? I mean, there was just name after name after name. Magnus.
Yep.
Magnus, who is already supposed to be in contract negotiations with TNA. Which is an odd dynamic that Mickey's back in WWE.
Yeah, that is
and
weird.
now Magnus may be going back to TNA. Which is cool. But just that whole aspect, Global Force was kind of a joke. It is. Some of our buddies, the Heat Seekers, have wrestled for Global Force a lot too. But Jarrett being able to get those contacts with all these young and upcoming guys, Chucky T, Beretta, Andrew Everett, all these guys, now, if he wants to go, and we're going to start over with TNA, we're going to get the younger guys, the hot guys, we're going to bring you a new brand of wrestling. They're going to introduce new stars. Because look, as much as all of us love the Hardys, and like even when Sting came back to TNA, it's awesome. But if you don't start building guys for the future,
then it just gets boring. Like you can
you can't use but so many
you can only use
WWE rejects.
You can only use nostalgia for so long. Like eventually you have to start putting forth your own product instead of rehashing something, you know, from an earlier age.
And that's not to say you can't use some of what you have too, but what I'm saying is, you know, for every James Storm who's been there, Abyss who's been there since the beginning, who's on the booking committee.
Yep.
I did not know till all this came out. You know, guys like that who've been there since, you know, day one basically, to go from them to who's going to be the new AJ Styles of TNA, who's going to be, you know, the new Jeff Jarrett type guy.
Yep.
You know, those feuds are what made TNA. Like you go back to the X Division. The X Division was what made TNA special.
That's what separated TNA. I mean, that's what got me into TNA.
You know, we talked about the Elevation X match and stuff like what they had at one of our local shows. That match, or, you know, the cage matches with some of those tag teams.
Yep.
AMW and Triple X.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, to this day, I'll never forget Elix Skipper walking across the top of the cage and pulling off the Hurricane Rana off the top. It's still fucking amazing. I don't care. Like that, and that's been
years.
10, 12 years ago, whatever it was. Like, if they will bring back a different brand, don't be WWE locked, okay? Like, that's not going to help you.
Yeah.
You can't be WWE locked. Why does everybody like Lucha Underground? And some people don't, I know. But why is Lucha Underground so popular?
Because it's different.
It's different.
That's why I like it so
Why
much.
was TNA so popular for forever?
Because it was
it's
different.
Don't try and be what everybody else is.
Like, be your own product.
And I think that's what Jeff Jarrett and Scott D'Amore and Dutch Mantell, who I think's a genius a lot of times on a lot of stuff. Like, he'll talk on Twitter. I love him on Twitter.
Yep.
Like, he'll tweet stuff, and he cracks me up, too. Like, he'll be talking about the presidential election, how he set it up, and it's a work and all that stuff. I love it. I think they're smart enough to know that you have to have a mix of the old plus the new. And like right now, what this does, not having the Hardys and not having Galloway, does it leave a void? Yes. But what it does do, it leaves income.
A lot of
income.
Up a lot of money.
To sign, these guys who are the hot independent names right now. Hey, and I'm not saying they're going to sign any of these guys. But this gives them the space to go, hey, let's go out and sign Matt Riddle.
Yeah.
Let's go out and sign Jason Kincaid. Let's go out and talk Zack Sabre Jr., whoever.
Anthony Henry,
another good one. Chase Owens, the Heat Seekers. A lot of these guys, Sean Schultz.
the Ducks.
The Ugly Ducklings. There's so many names right now that what it does is open up spots. And if you're going to rebrand something, you're going to want to bring in these new guys, these fresh faces.
That's the thing, guys. I mean, you got to think about this. Like, think about it in terms of like either a sports team. Like if you've got some older guy who might have a year or two left, but you're trying to plan for your future, you get rid of that guy.
Perfect example, right?
Send him off.
And it's my team, the Cowboys.
Yeah.
You go back to 1988, 89. The Dallas Cowboys would have never won those Super Bowls in the 90s and been dominant had they not pulled off one trade. And everybody thought they were stupid at the time. They traded Herschel Walker, maybe the biggest freak athlete ever.
Probably.
I mean, he was, guys,
he's
still a freak athlete. The dude's like 60 years old,
Yeah.
and like he looks like he could walk through a car. Legitimately, Superman doesn't have shit on Herschel Walker. The dude was 50-some years old and just out of the blue was like, I'm going to do MMA. And he's like 1-0 or whatever doing MMA. But the whole point with that is Dallas Cowboys have Herschel Walker at running back. They weren't great, but you still have this stud running back, right? They trade him to the Minnesota Vikings for 8 fucking picks. They didn't get like a single player out of it, I don't think. It's like 8 picks.
Yep.
Those 8 picks turned into Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin, Troy Aikman, Leon Lett, Nate Newton. Guys, it's like a Hall of Fame list of players. Like, they knocked it out of the park. It's kind of the same deal. You're going to trade the stud duck right now, the stud horse, who's probably on his way downhill more than he is uphill. And I love the Hardys. That's just facts. And they'll probably be 60 years old and still doing swantons and all that stuff. But it may be in a high school gym. Which is nothing wrong with that. But I'm just saying, from a company aspect, sometimes you got to know when to let a guy go.
Yeah, you got to know when to get out.
And know when a guy is worth what he wants. And when, if he doesn't fit your plan, which I think that was more it. I don't think they didn't want to give the Hardys free range to do what they wanted.
I mean, the thing about it is the Hardys were doing all that stuff,
Yeah.
and a lot of TNA was centered just around the Hardys.
And I understand that aspect from the Hardys side of it, but from the business side of it, everybody's like, TNA's stupid. This is the end of TNA. No, TNA is smart enough to know if they're going to branch out going forward, because they've already went back, they're going to India and the UK. I saw where Jeff Jarrett tweeted that, which is huge, because what nobody understands is if you go over to the UK, TNA will outdraw WWE shows.
Yeah.
TNA will outdraw WWE in the UK. And they're huge over in India. their out of the country markets are actually sometimes a lot better than WWE's. And I can't really even explain to you why, because I would think, a bigger audience, WWE's seen more, but TNA is huge. And I thought that was one thing that killed Dixie and them the past year, so they quit touring over there. And I know that costs a lot of money, but when you're that big over there, you're better off touring over there than doing anything in the U.S. I mean, in all honesty. It's just the facts of it. But my thing with this is, Jarrett and them have a plan. Let's see what happens. Now, hell, TNA may go out of business at the end of the year. They could.
Yeah.
But
I think
I don't think they will.
I think they're fine. I think clearing up a lot of this money will help, as long as they use the money to go out and get people, which I think they will. I mean,
okay. And like we said earlier, we got Ryback and Jack Stane.
Yeah.
In the main event, there's two guys. Look, Jack Stane especially, because he's not been seen by a lot of people, but Ryback gives you a name plus a younger guy. Plus, look, I'm not saying the guy's great in the ring, but son of a bit, he looks like $1 million.
Yeah.
I mean, legitimately, he's a created wrestler. Legitimately, that's what it breaks down to. He looks like a guy I would create on wrestling.
Just to go in there and beat the shit out of somebody.
This guy walks out and, he looks like, okay, and I do not mean this bad towards him because, I've had mixed emotions. He's a bigger Goldberg.
Yeah.
He dwarfs Goldberg.
Well, I mean, and really, if you think about it, that's the way they kind of booked him in the beginning.
Yes. Well, and then that's towards the end. I thought they should have booked him exactly like that, and they kind of did.
Yeah.
They half-assed it when I think it actually would have worked. But guys like that, and guys like I said, I'm telling you right now, you want to do the X Division again, and some of the guys they have for the X Division I like. But now I feel like they got some other guys. I love Trevor Lee. We're in agreement on this.
Yeah.
I love Trevor Lee. He had a little bit of a wasn't his fault completely, but he should have known better to begin with. But he had his little run in at Pro Wrestling Guerrilla.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about that. Where him and Cody had their thing. And if you know what I'm talking about, look it up. And I'll tell you this. Cody Rhodes is a fucking professional. The way he handled all that. He apologized when technically he shouldn't apologize for anything. But I love that whole thing. But what I'm saying is, if it was me, and I know I'm partial, but if I'm going to do an X Division, I'll tell you right now, you got Trevor Lee,
Yep.
you got Zima on guy. There's a few other guys that are pretty good here and there. And not that they're all great. I'm telling you right now, go sign Jason Kincaid and Leo Rush.
Yeah.
Jason Kincaid and Leo Rush, bring them into the X Division with those guys. Put them and Trevor Lee in a match.
Again,
Andrew Everett.
Again, like I said, bring in
Caleb Conley's there now.
Bring in Anthony Henry too.
Anthony Henry's great.
I mean, honestly,
Tracer X.
Yeah.
You have these guys. It's such a hotbed. I know we're partial to Smoky Mountain, but I'm not talking about Smoky Mountain. Smoky Mountain, PWX.
Yeah.
And that stuff down in here, it is such a hotbed right now. Look, I'm partial, and everybody knows this, and we talk about him on here. You want to talk about the next AJ Styles? Axton Ray.
Yep.
I'm telling you right now, and so there's probably somebody that's going, "Oh, you're fucking stupid." I'm telling you right now, the kid is 19 years old. I don't even know if he's 19 yet.
I think he's 19.
I think he's 19, but I'm telling you right now, the kid looks like $1 million. He has the best head on his shoulders of just about any kid that age I've ever met.
Acts nothing like a 19-year-old.
Is great in the ring.
Professional, too. That's a big one.
And has such a huge upside. And even kind of looks like a young AJ Styles. Yeah. I'm going to tell you right now, that kid would be so huge on fucking TV right now. Every girl, and this is obviously, I got 2 kids, my wife. I mean, we've established this earlier when we were talking about the subject that our poll's on.
Yeah.
No homo, and nothing wrong with that. Dude's fucking phenomenal looking. Every girl in America would be in love with Axton Ray. Dude, I'm telling you. I would be going after Axton Ray tomorrow.
Yep.
Because he would be huge. And he's 19 years old. You talk about building your company around somebody. You start the X Division back up, and you bring in Jason Cade, Leo Rush, Axton Ray, Anthony Henry, put them with Trevor Lee, Andrew Everett, Caleb Conley, Zima Ion. I'm telling you right now.
I mean,
You throw back up the X division.
yeah.
Oh my God, man.
I mean,
Ultimate X matches.
No, if they start doing stuff like that, I would be a lot more interested in TNA. Honestly.
And then, like, I love some of the characters, but, like, there's a lot of times characters fall really flat for me with TNA.
Yeah.
And that's, like, I really want TNA to succeed because I love TNA. I was a TNA guy more than WWE.
And hopefully with the new regime in there, that'll change. It'll go back to some of those glory days for TNA.
I hope so. And like I said, I like Jarrett. We met him, before. I really like Jeff Jarrett. And I think, I could be wrong. I think they will get this ship righted. Nobody's got to worry about it sinking just because the Hardys left. And I love the Hardys, but that's just the facts of it. Look, Moose, I think, is going to be a stud. And him and Lashley. And you know what? I'll throw it out there that this matters to a point. Who in WWE? And this is we don't talk about this subject. Who's the top black guy in WWE? In all honesty, who's the top black guy in WWE right now?
There's not one.
There's not one.
And this might make some people mad.
But there's and to me right now,
people I've seen, there's not really anyone that I'd put that way.
There's no one in WWE right now that's an African American. I won't even say black. African American guy that, to me, deserves to be in that spot. And I know you can say so and so's not been pushed right. There's none of them that have the dick factor.
No, I think I'm just gonna go out and say this. Saying someone hasn't been pushed right is a bullshit excuse. That works in some instances. Some guys legitimately have not been pushed right. Drew Galloway was never pushed right.
The only guy I'll give you a little bit of argument as far as the whole African American type deal with WWE, I thought at one point they dropped the ball with Kofi Kingston.
I agree completely.
Kofi had a shot.
I agree completely.
Now, if you would separate Kofi from New Day for a year and a half, and build him back up, Kofi's the only one to me right now.
I agree. But just saying that, a lot of people say, well, this guy's just not booked right. He could be that guy. Guys, everyone doesn't get to be a world champion, first of all. And a lot of the guys just don't have the it factor.
Yeah, so that nobody thinks, like, I'm, obviously the R word.
Yeah.
Somebody I love, and the internet world wrestling community loves him. I think he's fucking phenomenal. He may be the best wrestler in the ring, maybe in WWE right now. I love Cesaro. I have no desire to see Cesaro be a world champion.
I agree completely. I
love him. I think he's tremendous in the ring. I could watch Cesaro matches all night on Raw.
But he's not the face of the company.
But that it factor that I need, he doesn't have. Well, let me throw this back at you then. Let's go over TNA. Bobby Lashley and Moose, guess what? They have that it factor. And I'm not saying that's like a huge thing to have, but go back to how big was Ron Simmons in WCW?
Yeah.
When Ron Simmons became the first African American champion. Like, that was huge. Like, incredibly huge. And then, now you have Moose, and I mean, look, you have to throw in, when you start looking at demographics, like, not just males in this age demographic. Let's go to white males in this age demographic.
Yep.
African American males in this age demographic. Now, if you're an African American, obviously I'm not, and you see Moose and Bobby Lashley main eventing a show or whatever, like, that's going to draw you in more. Obviously, I would think.
Yeah.
Whereas, let's go back over to WWE, and it's Braun Strowman versus Big Show. It was a hell of a fucking match. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
it was
phenomenal
awesome.
match.
And we'll talk about Braun here in a minute when we talk about WWE. I'm not getting the same feel from that one as I am this one.
Yeah, I agree.
If I'm looking at it that way. And so, like, TNA has some assets that are better than WWE's already.
I agree completely.
But like I said, everybody needs to chill out. And I think TNA's going to be okay. I really do. I think TNA's going to be fine. I think you're going to see them go back to the old stuff some more. And by old stuff, I'm not saying they're bringing in every WWE guy that gets released.
We're not saying go back in time.
When I say their old stuff, we're going back to the TNA stuff. Going back to
some of the formula that worked.
The tag team stuff.
Yeah.
The faction stuff when it wasn't stupid stuff. Like we're 98% of the rosters in this Aces and Eights. Which at first was Aces and Eights was kind of cool. But then when you had like 14 of them.
I mean, it's sort of like the Main Event Mafia.
Yeah.
You
And I
know,
know that's us calling the kettle black with the whole Bullet Club thing, but that's two separate things. That's covering different promotions. This is one promotion. But no, TNA's going to be okay. So that's our State of the Union address on the state of TNA.
You know, I'm just gonna pat us on the back and applaud us, and I'm like smiling right now. You can probably hear it, like you can probably hear it in my voice. We're doing so much better, like as far as not getting angry about stuff. Like, have you realized that?
Yeah,
Like,
I know.
could you think about it? If this would have been the first podcast back from us taking
man.
a break,
I would have shit all over TNA just now, man.
that's what I'm saying. But like now, like we're calmed down. We're thinking rationally. Like we're not just mad all the time. You know what I mean?
Well, I think one of the biggest things, and we've talked about it, and some of it does go from us getting closer to some other people.
Yeah.
Is looking at things from a business standpoint.
As opposed to just being a fan.
As opposed to just being like, no, the fucking Hardys are the greatest fucking thing that's been in TNA in the last year and a half.
Yeah.
And they are. But business sense wise, if they're not going to go, like, I don't want to say they're not going to be team players, because they were, but it's hard to give somebody full control over their character. Because I'll give you an example. WCW did that. And Hogan and Nash, and I really like Nash. Hogan's great, probably the most famous wrestler ever. I'll give him his due for that.
Yeah.
However, the politics that went on behind the stages in WCW is what killed WCW.
Yeah.
Or WCW would have put WWE out of business. I really believe that. But when you give somebody, hey, you got total control of your character, which Hogan did. Dude, you can come in and change anything and everything.
You can literally do
You
whatever
can
you
literally
want.
show up the day of the show, and you've had a plan for 6 months. This is what we're going to do, and go. You know what? No, I'm not dropping
It's
the
like,
title.
I don't want to do that. I'm just gonna stay the champ.
And there's nothing you can say because contractually they can't.
They're legally obligated to oblige you.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, like, I understand where the company's coming from by not wanting to give them total control.
And the thing about it is, the Hardys probably will never do that. More than likely, they probably wouldn't do that. But you got to protect your business, guys. I mean, you can talk the Hardys up as much as you want or do whatever you want, but at the end of the day, the Hardys are two dudes. TNA's a business, and what?
I'm picking fourth.
Number 4?
I'm
That's
4.
fucking awesome.
Yeah, I'm 4-13 in that one.
Cool.
I don't know if he's ran the other one yet. Sorry, I'm obsessed with this
Pablo's
breaking shit.
obsessed with these breaks. At this point.
It's cool shit though.
By the way, since we're talking about breaks, and really, we finished up.
We finished with
stuff.
TNA thing.
Plug the hobby show.
Holy shit, guys! Yeah.
Yeah.
This Saturday, Tri-Cities Toy and Hobby Show to benefit the Children's Miracle Network. We'll be at the Appalachian Fairgrounds in Gray. This is the 12th annual.
Yep.
This is like I want to say the 5th or 6th one I've done. And we did the fall one back in October.
It was before Halloween, wasn't it? Or was it after?
It was right at Halloween.
Yeah, right around.
Maybe
Yep.
the day of.
Was it you might be right.
I think it was. Anyway, Tri-Cities Toy and Hobby Show is this Saturday. Admission is $5 to get in. All the admission goes to the Children's Miracle Network. They'll also have a table set up with like silent auction things. All that stuff goes.
We'll be there.
We will be there. Like I said, this will be the 6th year I've done it. Justin and my son Jaden will be there with me because I actually have to leave during part of it. You'll be probably coming back with me after your game. Riley has a basketball game that where I'm coaching her basketball team. So I gotta leave for like an hour and a half.
So I will be running the helm.
Yeah, I gotta try and get everything priced. Yeah. I've not done any of that.
Like, that'll be $600, buddy.
Yeah, just overcharged like a son of a bitch. Anyway, so here's the deal. Like I said, Helps Children's Medical Network. Here's the breakdown. They will have anything and everything just about you can think of. From action figures, and when I say action figures, I'm talking about action figures from just about anything you can think of.
And collectibles, like, the real...
Like
the
good,
cool,
like
the
old
cool,
school.
The cool shit like you would put on your desk, man. Like not something you're gonna give to your kid.
Yeah, like shit that you had when you were a kid that you wish you had now. That it's in a box or something.
Yeah, like you remember you got some. I was talking to Dad about this the other day. Like going to the toy and hobby show makes me think about the fact that like as a dumbass kid, I just took all my Star Wars shit and just like I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I loved it as a kid.
Oh, yeah.
And now it's like, fuck, you know how much money that stuff would
Oh,
be
no. Same deal, man. Like, wrestling stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I had the Hulk Hogan, like, workout kit that had the ankle weights, the little blue plastic dumbbell weights, the headband, the tape that you played that had Hulk Hogan talking to you as you did through the
how much
workout.
money that would probably be worth.
Dude, like, the whole kit thing now is, like, anywhere from, like, $50 to $300, no problem.
That's what I'm saying.
And I'm sitting here going, man.
Well, see, my girlfriend Lexi, her grandfather, he talked about that, and he was like, when my kids were young, I bought 2 of everything. He would buy one, put it up,
Really?
buy the other one, and actually let them use it. Yeah, so it was smart. I guess I'll, remember that one of these days.
Yeah, I should have done that. Oh, wow, shit.
I'm excited for pop figures. I'm hoping that someone has some Rick and Morty pop figures. If you're out there and you just... My birthday is March 11th. If you want to send me a fucking Rick and Morty pop figure that's not Rick and Morty with the portal gun. I already have that one. Wow, that's 108...
180, 150 for the Hulkamania deluxe workout set. I had the jump rope, and I also had the little squeeze on handle things. Oh man, I missed that. Oh shit! Here you go, still sealed,
Oh my!
never opened. $400.
$400.
Man, that's sickening. Sickening. It is.
Yeah, but we'll be at the Toy and Hobby Show.
Yeah, it runs from 9 to 3.
Pablo will have a lot of sports memorabilia as he always does.
I have a lot of everything. Like, I'm gonna
But
have.
you got the hookup when it comes to like some sport, like some cool ass.
Let me tell you right now,
Cool-ass
the
sports
hookup this year with that. Sorry, I got to plug
No,
my
you're
mic here
good.
for a minute. The hookup
I'm
this
good,
year
I'm like 60%.
is dude, the fucking cards that I've
Oh yeah,
come into this year.
guys, I'm not really like a huge card guy or anything, but like holy shit.
It's pretty damn.
Yeah,
It's
especially
pretty legit.
And some if you're like a Cowboys fan, especially.
Like, it's even weird. Like, I got the Zeke jersey card, but like, man, like the Earl Campbell jersey card.
Yeah.
That's his actual number. It's number 2.
If you're a Tennessee Titans fan, you go.
Dude, I got Derrick Henry coming
Derrick
out.
Henry's on
The
deck.
ass, man.
Yeah.
Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah.
I get your hookup. I got one guy who usually wants to buy my Cincinnati stuff, so
He usually buys you out of that Cincinnati stuff.
dude, I'm about to hook that guy up. Like, no shit, man. That's one of the coolest cards, and I got a case for it. The case itself is badass. But man, not even just that. I'm gonna have some pop figures. What else, man? Autograph pictures. Man, just anything. A couple wrestling figures and stuff. Just about anything else. But besides my table, man, like, there'll be stuff, like, every year I see something I've never seen before. From pop figures, action figures, comic books. Which, actually, kind of on that subject, I'm going to be on another podcast in the next couple weeks at some point.
Cool.
The Comic Cast podcast. They actually just did a live show.
Really?
Live podcast at G2K Games.
That's awesome.
But I'm going to be on their show here in a couple weeks, which will be cool. And I think Tony Givens is going to be on their show in a couple weeks.
Nice.
Basically, they're going to give you like a comic book to read for that week. And they want to do it with people that don't read a lot of comics, which I fall into that category. And then have you like come on and talk about it and stuff. So
That would be really
not
neat.
to mention I get to talk about our podcast. So like some dual stuff.
Plug the fuck out of us.
I will, and also go follow them. Comic Cast. We're following them, like, so you can go find it on our stuff. Really cool guys. Matt is one of the guys over there.
Have you listened to any other podcasts yet?
I started listening to one the other day. I haven't got to because I want to know what I can and can't say.
Yeah, see, that's what I was
like,
about
so
to
it's
ask
one
you.
of the things like I got to learn the ground
Like
rules.
I just like cut my mouth and said plug the fuck out of us, and then I was like, yeah.
I wonder if I can cuss.
I was like, I wonder if he how profane he's actually going to be on that show.
I'm gonna be very, very studious,
Civilized. Wear a
civilized.
tie.
I'm not wearing a damn tie.
You don't have to wear a suit. Just wear a tie.
Just wear a tie.
Like a Randy
Like, no
Hand or
matter what,
something,
I'm
yeah.
gonna wear a tie.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going with a sleeveless t-shirt
Yeah.
and a tie.
Yeah.
Okay, just to. No, I think I'm gonna wear the Batman shirt. Like, I figure I gotta wear something if
okay.
if I'm doing it like in person with them. It may be on the phone. I don't know. But if I'm doing it in person with them, yeah, I'm gonna wear like a Batman shirt. I'm gonna wear a suit jacket too,
Okay.
with the tie, with
I
the
was about to
Batman
say,
shirt.
Also with the tie.
Yeah, the
Okay.
ties a given. Yeah, we'll do all that stuff. So that all that stuff's coming up. What else? We got WWE stuff we can talk about
Yeah. Fastlane is
this Sunday.
this Sunday. Eaton Goldberg's gonna squash Kevin Owens. Is that the deal?
I think he might.
Is that
He may.
Is that what
I
everybody's,
don't know.
Is that what everybody's saying anyway?
Well,
Or
it's kind of changed a little bit. I have seen now where some people are kind of like, Kevin Owens may keep the title. I don't know that I see that. I don't know that I see that at all, to be honest. Sorry, I had to let the dogs down. Go outside.
I mean, that would be. I mean, obviously, I hope he keeps the title. I'm a big Kevin Owens.
I love
fan.
Kevin Owens. But now here's my thing. If you're gonna,
Kevin Owens is gonna start Evolution again, guys.
that's what you're banking on.
I have
right?
a conspiracy that Kevin Owens is gonna start Evolution again, and I hope it comes to fruition.
I'm kind of okay with that, to be honest.
I just want to hear the theme song again. Like that's one of those.
The Evolution
theme
theme song was great.
Lemmy Kilmister was a treasure.
It was great. So yeah, WWE Fastlane coming up. Trying to think of what other matches.
Braun Strowman's
Braun
the
Strowman,
real deal, guys.
Braun
by the
Strowman
way.
and Roman Reigns are gonna fight, and damn man, like Braun has grown on me, especially
same.
like in the last month,
Same here.
month and a half, and somewhere in there. That guy
Like
has
he's really coming into himself, man. As a wrestler, as a performer, like he's getting there.
and like. I didn't expect it. I know we talked about this the other day a little bit. I didn't expect it at all. Like, I was like, Braun Strowman's just a big waste of space. Yeah. But now, it's like, this dude could legit be something pretty big. So, the Braun Strowman, Roman Reigns, obviously, the KO Jericho thing is going into WrestleMania, obviously. It's just a matter of what titles are where.
It's both.
Because did you see where he tagged him in Germany on a live event show? Like, they're not even just doing it on the big shows on TV now. He literally beat the shit out of him in a German show.
It made me so happy because I just imagine that, like it. I love seeing all the stuff with them fighting, and then like you hear them like on Jericho's podcast when they were like. Because he would always title the ones that Kevin Owens was on as my best friend Kevin Owens on the podcast.
I gotta set this over here.
What else do we have? Is Fastlane just a Raw thing?
Fastlane is just Raw. Nia Jax is taking on Sasha. Bayley's defending the title against Charlotte.
Is this the first, or is this the last thing before?
This
or is there one more?
I want to say that they may be going to do like one of those,
like at the end of March or something.
Well, I think they, and I'm not sure. So, like, I'm sure somebody's cussing me right now. But they are doing they may do a. Remember last year they did Dean Ambrose versus Triple H. They did like a network exclusive.
Yeah. I know.
Kind of like they would have a show.
It's like a mini pay-per-view almost.
Kinda, yeah. Like a house show on steroids.
Yeah.
Or maybe a Raw on steroids is probably better. So there's maybe that. Just so you know, if you can hear like this little like mumbling talking in the background, I'm in a break, so I gotta find out what cards get pulled. But Fastlane. Really, the only thing for Fastlane for me is those two matches is Braun and Roman, just to see one what they do to each other, and two, does Undertaker show up? Because Roman kind of set the whole thing up at Royal Rumble, where everybody's led to believe that Roman Reigns and Taker are gonna fight at the Rumble, and then on the other side of that, I don't know what you do with Braun, but I think you can't have a clean finish in that match either way.
Because, you don't think so?
Okay, you tell me how you do it. You want Roman to be pushed.
Yeah, that's the thing. You can't have Braun beat him clean because then it just looks like that he's the bigger guy than Roman, and if Roman wins clean, you're just kind of ruining
and
what you've done with
Braun.
Braun.
You want Roman to be your babyface going forward, which everybody's kind of against, but they keep doing it. And then Braun, who is building this reputation up right now to where he's going to be like a huge, huge deal. You can't really let him lose either.
Yeah.
So I think Taker shows up maybe. Nobody real. I mean, yeah, Roman Reigns will probably win by disqualification, but it doesn't make anybody look weak.
Yeah.
You know, and hell, maybe it pisses off Braun and it sets up a 3-way between them or some shit. Because I'm not look.
If you make a 3-way at WrestleMania with the Undertaker, then that means he doesn't have to do as much.
I like Taker. Like, I want to see Taker, you know, kind of ride off into the sunset. But man, right now, him riding off the sunset is gonna look rough as shit. Like,
I don't know if he can stay
if
up
you
on
watch
the
the Royal
horse.
Rumble, man, like they were having to run to him to be able to do anything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I just, man, I feel sorry for Taker, but I want him to have a good show.
Yeah.
Especially because it could be his last. I mean, I know we've said that for like 2 years now.
We've said that for like 5 years.
Yeah, but it's got, like, you can tell now.
Yeah.
You can tell now it's worse than it was before. And,
Riley the raccoon over
yeah,
there.
Riley over here, she decides to dig now of all times. We don't have that much left.
Yeah, we're like an hour in.
Yeah.
We probably got like maybe, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes left tops.
Yeah, probably. So hush. Oh, talking about how Bailey's going to lose to Charlotte? Uh-huh, she is. Charlotte has never lost on a pay-per-view.
Ever.
That's just unfair.
Well, look. Sorry.
Bailey is awesome.
That's how I fucking felt for 20-some years with Taker, alright? Shut up. It doesn't matter. If you can't tell, she's a hugger.
Yeah.
She loves Bailey.
I have a shirt.
Yeah, we know. Okay, hush. Kick you off the podcast. Anyway, so Braun, Fastlane. Tonight, as we speak, obviously we're having AJ versus Luke Harper to determine the number one contender.
Yep.
I still think it'll wind up being Luke.
Hopefully.
I think he'll have 3-way. It'll be Luke.
That'd be neat.
I'll stick with what I've said. Luke and Orton and Bray. I mean, okay, I'll give them this. They kind of surprised me that they had Luke and AJ both kind of win the Rumble thing type deal. Like, that was kind of a shocker, but I guess it just prolonged the week. I think they couldn't make up their mind. I think they were afraid to pull the trigger. I really do. I think they were afraid to just go, you know what, let's put Luke in there. I think they were afraid to do it. So, other than that, we'll talk about the Hall of Fame after we talk about our subject. Because I don't want to end on that subject.
Yeah, that would be
That would be
weird.
kind of awkward. So, one, because I know a bunch of people, have you checked it lately?
No, I'll go look right now.
Look, Justin's going to go check our poll. Our poll is simple. We had this talk. Actually, you talked about this. You brought up kind of the discussion. We were talking about it somehow.
There's 12 votes right now.
12 votes. Where are we stand on the vote before we tell them what it's about?
It's still 50% yes, 33% no, 17% is don't watch any liar. Like in parentheses, liar.
Okay. So basically, here's what it breaks down to. Our poll question on Twitter is, would you still be married or in the relationship you're in if the significant other knew how much porn you watched?
Yeah.
We make this argument because we were discussing, we brought this up earlier about something. I think we were talking about where we talked about it on the last podcast.
Yeah, and then I talked about something.
And then you said you had a conversation.
Friend of mine, we had the conversation, and it was like, do you think, like the significant other like knows how much porn you actually watch? Like, do you think that like how much that freaked them out? Like, so you just avoid the subject. So like we were like, well, fuck, we just got to make a poll about this and see what the deal is.
Yeah, I wanted to see what everybody says. I think there's more liars.
Yeah, obviously, I think so too.
I'm trying to multitask here.
Yeah, I see that. What are you typing?
Well, he tagged me in the thing because I hadn't commented that I was in here.
Just like, hey, buddy, doing a podcast
Well,
right now.
If I can know how to spell simultaneously.
Misa.
Yeah.
Misa can't do both at the same time. Anyway, so yeah, we made a poll. I don't know if this is going to go up tonight or tomorrow. By the time this goes up, the poll may be gone.
Hopefully,
But
it may be up in the morning or something.
But the thing was, like, if you're in a relationship, like, would you still be with your wife, significant other, whatever, if they knew how much porn you watched? You had three options: yes, no, and don't watch any. And then when parentheses would put liar because, like, let's fucking face it. So right now, yes, they think they would still be in the relationship.
I think, okay, I'll be honest. I answered yes.
I answered yes too.
I mean, I feel like Holly's still gonna love me.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I don't watch that much porn. Like,
Mine's hit or miss. Like, they're like depends on when you catch me. Like certain, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
there's certain times where
if you're bored and shit,
Yeah.
like, yeah.
more so than others. No,
Yeah.
there's other times where it's like no, like not hardly at all.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
But no, there are other times where it's like fucking I'm bored. Let me just flip over here. And see
Yeah,
what's going on.
yeah.
But so that was what our discussion was. It was about porn. Man, fucking Robbie Cassidy and Tony Givens.
They're ruining us, is what they're doing.
They got us on the porn.
They're
subjects.
ruining us.
And so then, like, what really got it was I kept getting the look from Holly when we were discussing it,
Yeah,
and I'm like, no, I'm telling you, like, most guys,
like this is a thing.
this is a thing where most guys probably watch more than you think. And if you say you don't, like, okay, I'm not gonna say you're a full-fledged liar because some people probably are that way.
But
Like, I believe you. But now
you-
for the most part,
you dabble. Let's
but
be
you're
honest.
you're dabbling. I'm
Yeah.
telling you. For you to just flat out say you don't watch it at all.
Yeah,
That's why I put liar in parentheses with it because I'm telling you right now, you do. And I guess part of it depends on what you classify as porn. Because like Holly tried to, like I'm not gonna lie, Holly tried to throw around that. Well, reading.
she's like, because you're not technically watching it. No, it's all the same. No, it's like what I said. You know, you had all these people that were reading like 50 Shades of Grey, like out in public when the book was a thing. Like I'd be going to the pool and see like some middle-aged woman like reading that shit.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, like you're suntanning. This is a public place. Like all this stuff's like, I'm not sitting on my phone just rocking out with the volume up, no headphones in. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like that's the thing. And people try to classify it different ways. Just it's all just porn, guys. We're all humans.
Yeah, look, and
we're all adults here.
Yeah, Holly reads the book. Like,
Yeah.
she read those books, and look, for Valentine's Day, I took her to go watch
Yeah.
the second movie. I got no problem in it. Now, what did I tell you? Like, in all honesty, the movie's pretty good, to be honest. My only thing with me was I was glad I got the seats we did because we went to the Pinnacle, so I picked out my seats.
So you go to the very back or something?
No, we were right in the middle, but you know, like where the handicap places are.
Yeah.
Okay, well, so they put 2 recliners in the middle and then 2 recliners on the outside, and the 2 recliners on the outside you can't get. They're available for the handicap,
Yeah.
but the 2 in the middle you can get.
Yeah.
So I just got the 2 right there. Well, we didn't have anybody sitting next to us, which I was really happy about because my thing was, like I said, I actually liked the movie, pretty good movie, but I did feel awkward that we were sitting there and you were watching these people do stuff, and some of it was pretty like
Yeah.
not bad, but you know, like it's out there stuff,
Yeah.
and you know you're seeing naked stuff and porn, like softcore porn stuff, and some of it's better than some softcore porn stuff, like with 250 other people or
Yeah.
250 couples. You know what I'm saying? It made it a little weird.
Yeah, I could see that being a little bit
It
strange.
was like watching a porn with 300 people.
That would be weird. It's like, did you know this? I told someone this and they didn't know it.
It was me. You
Yeah,
told
you
me
didn't
this.
know this.
Yeah.
Did I tell you this on the podcast?
No.
Okay.
Or maybe you did. I don't know.
Well, either way, I'll tell it again. Okay, so obviously, like we're in Gate City right now, where we're recording this podcast. If you go to Coburn, and then if you're from Coburn going towards Wise or Norton, either way, there's an old abandoned drive-in on the right side of the road. If you're going that way, that used to be a porn drive-in. That's what it was. And I remember my parents telling me about it. You could drive by and turn into the radio station,
That's
and porn
so-
would be playing.
That's so
Like people went to the drive-in to watch porn. I mean, obviously, like they have theaters to where you can still go do that. I don't know why the fuck you ever would.
Yeah,
Especially, I guess that was before the internet, obviously. Or maybe they just like the thrill of doing it in public. I don't fucking know.
yeah.
All right, let's move on to the actual question.
Okay, the actual question we have.
We talked about porn a lot in the past month, honestly.
You know what? I don't even care. Like, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Especially, you got to talk to your boys. We gotta talk to the band.
Yeah.
My boy did some photography stuff. Which, before you get on the subject, I gotta throw a shout out to our girl Sandra D, who is hooking her studio thing up where she's gonna do portraits and stuff. She's got the lamps, and actually, end of the month, end of March, we may try and go do like a podcast there.
At the
At her her studio thing,
That'd be
because I'm
cool.
off that week,
yeah, I'm down for
so we may head out there.
it. Anyway, I went and did some photography stuff for some of my friends in a local band, and they had a show, and it was Ric Flair's birthday that night. I mean, it was 68th birthday or something like that.
I think.
I don't know. Anyway, so they're doing their set or whatever. I'm taking pictures and talking to people afterwards and all that, and kind of networking a little bit. And then like the second band gets up to play, the Deadwood Drifters. They're from, as they said it, Carter fucking County, Tennessee.
I like it. I like
And
it.
they're the real fucking deal. Go check them out on Facebook. They get on stage and announce that it's Ric Flair's birthday, and collectively, like, everybody there just starts throwing woos. Like,
I love it.
everybody was a wrestling fan. So like, did a little bit of networking.
Hey,
and,
you gotta put it out there that we got a podcast.
yeah. So I told him we had the podcast or whatever. Dude, I believe he's the vocalist of Porno Arcade. Chad. He talked about the School of Morton. We were talking about Ricky Morton and everything, and we need to work something out to where we can get some music for this damn podcast.
And we're gonna have them on. 'Cause
Yeah.
I love the fact that as we've discussed,
They have a song about Ric Flair.
really,
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it's dude.
Talking about it being the longest or the oldest ride in the park, being the longest line.
I just want them to come to my house. Bring them to the house and they can play live at the house.
But yeah, we're gonna try to do that. I feel like I'm getting more into the local stuff over there, so we'll see what we can do.
And let's face it, as much porn talk as we've done lately, what could be a better name for
Yeah.
a group to have on here than Porno Arcade?
Yeah, Porno Arcade.
So, yeah.
So check them out. Check the Deadwood Drifters out. Check Crimson Bishop out. Check all those local bands out, man. They're all fucking killer.
And also, if you need pictures taken for your band, get Justin to do it.
Yeah, I'll do them.
So, other than that, our buddy, I was having a conversation with a loyal supporter who I love, Kyle Kaiser. Kyle, who is former military.
Yep.
So thanks for all that stuff, Kyle. But besides that, Kyle's a huge Smoky Mountain fan, a huge wrestling fan altogether, and is really cool to us. But me and Kyle were having a conversation about the Hall of Fame. And so far, I really like this year's Hall of Fame class, just to be honest.
I do too.
Like the Rock and Roll Express, Kurt Angle, DDP. I know I'm probably forgetting somebody. And then Beth Phoenix was just announced.
Yep. Who?
I feel like there's somebody I'm missing.
Yeah, I believe you're right. I don't remember right offhand.
I don't either.
Someone will probably roast us for it. Go right ahead.
I'm sure. Go right ahead. I don't care. Because this leads to our question more so than it does. Like that, I'm in agreement with all those. I know a lot of people had problems with DDP. Like DDP was huge in WCW, and if you know the whole background from his story from that was huge. But also, if nothing else, like we talked about earlier, his DDP yoga. I know you probably shouldn't get in the Hall of Fame off of just doing DDP yoga.
But I mean, obviously that wasn't all he
But
did.
look, no, I mean he's a former WCW champion. He hosts like some of the best of WCW DVDs. He had a decent career.
Teddy
Long.
Long, yeah.
Who, in all honesty, was great as a general manager. To me, Teddy Long was Doom's manager and managed a lot of people in WCW.
Yep.
Sorry. And I feel like WCW gets shit on a little bit because it's the WWE Hall of Fame or whatever. But with that said, kind of the two that everybody's kind of bitched about mostly has been DDP, which I think DDP deserves to be in. I'm not
agree.
saying there's not some, and that we'll get to the question. We'll get to the question in a minute. I think DDP deserves to be in.
I do too.
Beth Phoenix for me, I'm in between. I can see why,
Yeah.
but if you want to argue with me that there's some other women
That
that
should have
got in first,
Yeah.
I cannot argue with you on that.
Yep.
Depending on who they are, obviously. But the question we got from Kyle, he threw it up there, and I'm like, dude, he was, I think Kyle was half joking. He was like, hey, that's a good podcast question. Who is not in the Hall of Fame that deserves to be, and why are they not in the Hall of Fame? And I told Kyle, I said, we'll do it, and I'm giving Kyle all the credit for this question, so Kyle hooked us up. Answers for this question. Who's not in the Hall of Fame that I think should be, and why aren't they? If you'd asked me, 2 years ago, I'd have said Macho Man.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that had to do with, if you believe rumors, Macho and the McMahon family, some of the members were closer than others. But Macho's in. Go ahead and go with yours that you said you were bringing up.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the obvious one.
And obviously, like, you know, he never will be. Never, ever will be. As Chris Benoit. I mean, obviously, all that stuff that happened, guys, you know, it makes sense. He'll never be there. But, you know, if you just want to look at a guy, you know, as far as whole career and everything that he did, you know, if you take out the you know, how it all ended, he's there. I mean, it's bar none. One of the best technical wrestlers to ever do it. And probably ever will do it, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, he was one of my personal favorites, too. And, you know, there may be some little bit of bias there, but...
The in-the-ring stuff,
he'll never get in.
You can't question the in-the-ring stuff at all.
But the thing about it is, you know, some of the reason that it ended how it ended was, you know, just because of the way the sport was back then. I mean, as far as taking headshots, doing all that stuff. I mean, that's my big one.
That's a pretty cool card.
That is a pretty sick card.
It's A.J. McCarron, Alabama, number 4 out of 5. Damn, I hope Ryan didn't hear me. The Alabama card should be going nuts. Anyway, other guys who I think, and I actually sent Kyle back a list. I'm like, and it went back to the DDP thing. I have no problem with DDP being in. I will not bitch it at all. But if you want me to argue against it, I will have a list of people who I think should be in. Rick Rude. Rick Rude should be in the Hall of Fame. As to why he's not in, I don't know specifics. I don't know that the relationships were... He had great relations with some people. He kind of did come across like he may have been hard to get along with. But, like, for me, that's one of them that I really think Rick Rude deserves to be there because he was Intercontinental Champion WWE, or WWF actually at the time. And not to mention, he went to WCW.
Yep.
And was huge. Like, for 93, 92, 93, 94, it was huge. He was an NWA World Champion. He was, this is John Elway jersey. That's cool. But there's also, you know, the fact that he did a lot of stuff. The Shawn Michaels thing where he was the manager for DX, and then the same night he showed up as an NWO manager. Dude, that's sick. Damn, 8 relic pieces on that one. But Rick Rude deserves to be. Who else we got? British Bulldog. I know why, because of the whole family issues and all that stuff. British Bulldog, though, deserves to be in there for his ring work and stuff.
I think eventually, I think that stuff will settle out. I really do.
Yeah.
Especially now.
Along those same lines, you know, Owen Hart is there.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, I don't know if that'll ever happen. Just to be honest. And I wish it would, but there's lawsuits and hard feelings, and that's I mean, I know Brett kind of got over some of the stuff, but I don't know that one will ever change. Anybody else you can think of?
Not right offhand.
I'm trying to think. There was maybe a couple other guys. Those were kind of the biggest ones for me. Oh, Mr. Perfect.
Okay.
I think Kurt Hennig deserved to be there. Probably the most talented guy. And it was kind of, not that he didn't have he had the it factor. And he just came wrong at the wrong time. Because Hogan was so huge then. Hogan and Warrior, there was no way he could get over.
Yeah.
Not to the point he needed to. But and the same thing kind of happened with Rude in WWE then, or WWF then. And my argument with that is, and no disrespect, because, you know, rest in peace, no disrespect whatsoever to Big Boss Man, some of these other guys, Rick Rude Mr. Perfect, British Bulldog, all better in the ring, better superstars to me than Big Boss Man.
Yeah.
And Big Boss Man was great in whatever he did. When he's Ray Taylor, he was a bodyguard for Cornette. All those, and that's no disrespect to him and some of the other guys. You know, the Hall of Fame is such a huge debate, can be every year with everything and with everybody. Because I know there were people who didn't think the Freebirds should be in. I'm pretty sure Austin West and Tyler Foshi just commented, which is funny. But other than that, man, I hope that kind of answered some of the stuff for your question, Kyle. If y'all want to, the comments or send us a message on Facebook and Twitter. Tell us who you all think should be in. I know there's a ton. The Demolition is a tag team.
Yep.
I don't think they were great in the ring, but you can't deny that they had all these tag teams and stuff. That's cool. Earl Campbell jersey card, 204. That's cool. But you know, it's so subjective. Like who you think should be in, I may not. But now I'm not gonna sit here I won't say I won't ever question, but I'm just gonna be happy for whoever gets in, unless it's somebody I just I don't know that I really agreed with. No offense whatsoever. Godfather and Coco Beware.
Yeah.
Hell, Drew Carey. You know, some of these guys they've gotten in. I know they do a celebrity one usually every year and stuff, but it's hard for me with some people. But, you know, I'm happy for DDP. I'm happy for Beth Phoenix. She's married to Edge.
Yeah.
Which is cool, because you never would have thought that. But other than that, that's all I got for the question. So, you got anything else? Tri-Cities Toy and Hobby Show. See ya, come see us Saturday.
Come hang out.
I'll be missing from 10:45 to 12:30, maybe somewhere there. 10:30 somewhere in there. Depends on how long our game takes. But other than that, check out YouTube. Share all our stuff. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Facebook. And we'll be back next week. We will have some guests next week because the big March 11th show's coming up. So, I'm out of here. Peace out.